What's going on, Detroit Lions fans? Welcome back. It is Monday morning. It's a big week for the Detroit Lions. We have a joint practice all week with the New York Giants. Thursday, we have a game against the New York Giants. It is officially, we can say, game week for the Detroit Lions. Now, as much as these quote unquote games don't mean anything, it means everything for the players, especially those guys that are on the bubble trying to make these teams. And also, real quick, Thursday, I'm thinking about doing maybe a live stream for a show. Just kind of sitting back, having a drink, watching some football, sitting on here talking with some of you guys. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. I'll try to arrange that if my wife will let me. I don't know if she will, but maybe if enough people say I'd be interested in that, she'd understand. She's also a diehard football fan, so she might want to just sit back and watch the game with me. But if I could talk it with the boys, that'd be a little bit more ideal. So leave it in the comments, and I don't think she'll watch this episode. If she does, it'll probably be my last one because she'll probably kill me. But big week this week for the Detroit Lions, getting ready for some Giant stuff. I got some stuff to watch for, and as much as I said these games don't matter, it means a lot for a lot of people. So what I'll be watching, I think these joint practices are actually more important than the actual game for the starters, because I don't want to see the starters on Thursday. I don't want to see Jared Goff, the offensive line, Gibbs, St. Brown, Hodge, Branch. I don't want to see any of those guys playing Thursday. I'm sure some of them will. I don't know which ones. I'd rather Thursday when I pop the game on, I'd rather see all of those guys in t-shirts and sweats, just kind of sitting back, watching, getting ready to, go through some mental reps, I guess. I don't want to see those guys on the field. I'm sure we will. I don't know who it'll be, but I think these joint practices, this is the start of real football. For me, real football started the day they reported for mini camp or training camp a couple weeks ago. This is where we're starting to get into some competition, some game days. One of my favorite episodes to do is game day shows. I love talking what I think the Detroit Lions need to do to win. I love getting on here after and talking about how we executed to win. I'm not a pleasant person if the Detroit Lions lose, but I don't have to worry about that too much this season. So what am I keeping an eye out for in these joint practices? And I'm going to keep it separate from what I'm going to be paying attention to on Thursday in the game. That will be in our game day episode that I'll have up Thursday morning. The Detroit Lions, we're getting some competition. I think this is a good team for us to have a joint practice against. If you guys have not watched the HBO offseason with the New York Giants, it kind of showed all of their GM moves that they did from free agency, the draft, some of the stuff. So like an inside look, if you guys are familiar with Hard Knocks. It was a good little show. I think it was only like 6 episodes. But I watched that knowing that, hey, we're going to play them in preseason. I kind of want to see, what's some stuff that these GMs do behind the scenes that we don't really get to look at. So it's kind of a nice little pull back the curtains. Maybe we get one with the Detroit Lions, or if they just wanted to release the Inside the Den so we could see it ourselves, that would be phenomenal too. But I think the Giants are a fantastic team for the Detroit Lions to go against because they're a test. They're a test in a lot of areas for us. And these joint practices are really going to be, like I said, what I'm keeping my eye on. So I think the Giants have a much better defense than what they did last year. They have some of the best pass rushers in the NFL. They have guys like Dexter Lawrence, Thibodeau, Brian Burns. And again, I don't think those guys will be playing on Thursday either. So that's why I feel like these joint practices are very important. I want to see how those three guys, that's a nice little three-headed monster that the Giants have, if I have to be honest. Dexter Lawrence, Thibodeau, Burns. Brian Burns is a guy that I wanted the Detroit Lions to go after this offseason as another pass rusher. Didn't work out. Now we got to play him. Thank God it's only preseason, but he's a monster. Kayvon Thibodeau, same draft class as Aiden Hutchinson. It was kind of a coin flip on who the Detroit Lions were going to select at number 2. Thibodeau's name was thrown out quite a bit. We went with our guy, Aiden Hutchinson, someone I wanted. I love that decision. Not a huge fan of Thibodeau, but he's an athletic freak. He's a big, tall defensive end with some very, very nice moves. He's starting to slowly figure it out in the NFL too. So he's going to be a nice test for Penei Sewell, Decker off the edge. Or if they line him up, maybe Ragnow does have a little say in what happens with Kayvon Thibodeau. Dexter Lawrence, another guy you're going to be seeing against Frank Ragnow in practice anyway. That's a nice little three-headed monster that the Giants have. It's going to be a good test. They have 3 good pass rushers. We have an elite offensive line. It's going to be a nice little battle to keep your eyes on, pay attention to. Offensive line, I'm not worried. I think we're going to obviously win that battle. If we played a full game against the Giants, yeah, they got some guys that can make some plays, but we got 5 guys that can go out there and just completely have their way. We're in the run game, the pass game. Like, I love our offensive line. It's the best in the NFL, but this is a nice little test for them. The other thing I'm really keeping an eye on is Malik Neighbors, the wide receiver from LSU that the Giants drafted this past draft. One of my favorite receivers in the draft. I thought he was top 3. They got him. I'm paying attention. We got Lions fans know our secondary was a weakness last year. We have a lot of guys on our secondary who are pretty much brand new. Kirby Joseph is the top dog seniority wise back there. Brian Branch only going into year 2, first year as a safety. Carlton Davis, first year with the team. Ennis Rakestraw, Terrion Arnold. Those are 4 brand new names that haven't meshed well together going against a young rookie who was one of the best receivers in college football, a top draft pick. He's a big, physical, athletic freak again. Like I guess that's what the Giants go after, is just those athletic freaks, because they got a couple of them. I'm watching those matchups. I want to see who's on Neighbors in practices, because I don't think he'll be playing Thursday either. I could be wrong on that since he's a rookie. Maybe they want to get him some game reps. I don't know. Will it be Terrion Arnold? Will it be Ennis Rakestraw, Carlton Davis? I don't know. It's going to be something to pay attention to, mainly in practices. And again, if Malik Neighbors plays, since he's a rookie, I'm wondering if we're going to play our rookies, if it's going to be Ennis Rakestraw, who's had a phenomenal training camp so far. I don't really want to see Carlton Davis playing on Thursday. I'd like to have him have the day off and just kind of get to the regular season. But if we're getting our rookies some reps in these games, Ennis Rakestraw, Arnold, let's pay attention. Maybe some news will come out between now and Thursday, and I can kind of choreograph that game day episode a little bit better once I get a little bit more information. But just assuming right now that our rookies play and Malik Neighbors play, I think that's a phenomenal matchup to watch. Our passing defense last year was not great. You guys know this. We got shredded, especially late in the season. We went against some juggernauts, wide receivers. And I think, 2 or 3 years from now, Malik Neighbors could be one of the best. He could be in that top 10 category of receivers. I think he's got the skills, but as a rookie, he's got a lot of learning. There's a curve. He is still a monster, and I'm curious to see how we match up with that as well. That's another nice test for our young secondary. The Lions are going to be tested this week. I'm glad it's not a meaningful game, but these are meaningful reps for a lot of guys to kind of give us a picture, especially as a content creator, someone who's been doing YouTube for a little over a year. And I know a lot of us out there in kind of doing this in this industry, I guess you could call it. It's mostly speculation. What we're doing with these players is mostly speculation and guessing. Thursday, when the game comes on Fox, we're going to have a much better understanding and I think a much better opinion of what this Detroit Lions defense is really, really capable of. We're all very hopeful. On paper, it looks good. In practice, it looks good. It doesn't mean anything if it doesn't translate to an NFL field on Sundays when games matter. And this is kind of an early glimpse, meaningless game. I get it, but it is still something we have to pay attention to, guys. So those are just a couple of things I'm watching. Some of the bigger stories, this Giants defense, their 3-headed monster, this young rookie they got against our new secondary. Leave it in the comments. Stick around. Hit that like button, guys. I'll be back later with another show. And let me know how you feel about that live stream. I'll try to set that up. Don't tell my wife. Thanks for watching.